The desert winds howled through the jagged red canyons of Verax 9, carrying the scent of dust, heat, and danger. Clashes echoed between the rocks, metal against bone, roars against war cries, fire against flesh. Among the chaos, a woman stood. Tall and proud, her crimson skin gleaming under the twin suns. Her name was Kelzari, commander of the beast clans of Jorax, and she believed no man, no matter his world, could match her strength. Her armor clung tightly to her sculpted body, a fusion of alien metal and ancient bone, forged by generations of war. Her eyes, glowing gold, scanned the battlefield below, where human soldiers had landed hours ago. They were latecomers in the galactic struggle, soft-skinned and fragile. Or so she thought. Kelzari had tamed thunder beasts with her bare hands. She had crushed stone with her fists. And today, she would test the so-called Terran warriors who dared step onto Jorax soil. As her war beast, a towering scaled monster with claws like scythes, let out a deep growl beside her. She laughed coldly. "Send me your strongest," she snarled, baring her fangs. "Let me see if Earth breeds anything worth fearing." The humans sent one man. He stepped forward without fanfare. No glowing armor, no cyber enhancements. Just thick arms, broad shoulders, and cold eyes that didn't blink even when the war beast roared inches from his face. He didn't flinch, didn't bow, didn't speak. Kelzari squinted. "Where is your weapon?" she asked, almost amused. The human cracked his neck slowly and rolled his shoulders. His name was Marcus Vorn, a Terran shock trooper who'd grown up on a dead moon, lifting broken engines before he could read. He simply raised one hand toward the beast. She raised an eyebrow, expecting him to stroke it like a pet. Instead, he grabbed the creature's lower jaw and slammed it into the ground. The canyon went silent. Her warriors gasped, stepping back. The creature let out a gurgled cry, its legs kicking weakly as it tried to rise. Marcus placed one foot on its back and reached down with a single arm. Muscles bulged. Sand shifted. With a growl deep in his chest, he lifted the full weight of the war beast off the ground. Kelzari's mouth fell open. The beast thrashed and screeched in the air, its claws slicing wind but finding no ground. Marcus held it aloft like a child's toy, then slammed it once more into the rock, cracking the stone beneath. Then, calmly, he stepped back and let it crawl away, whining. Her warriors looked at her for orders, but Kelzari said nothing. She was breathing harder now, though not from fear. Her blood was pounding, but not from rage. Something stirred inside her, a flicker of respect, curiosity, and a feeling she couldn't name. She approached him slowly. "What are you?" she asked. He looked her in the eye. "Human," he said. "No pride. No boast. Just truth." That night, the fires burned low in the canyon. The beast clans had stopped mocking the Terrans. Instead, they watched from the shadows as Kelzari sat across the fire from Marcus. No guard stood between them. "You have strength," she admitted. "But what else?" Marcus chewed dried meat and shrugged. "That depends on who's asking." She grinned, revealing sharp white teeth. "A warlord, maybe." He tossed a rock into the flames. "Then I guess I've got answers." She leaned closer. Her eyes scanned his chest, his arms, then met his eyes again. "Tomorrow we fight together," she said. He nodded once. For the first time in decades, Kelzari didn't ride her beast into battle. She stood beside a human, ready to charge. And this time when she roared, he roared with her. The enemy didn't know what hit them. Asterisk smoke still rose from the cracked valley floor as Kelzari and Marcus walked side by side toward the wreckage of a fallen war convoy. The sun above beat down hard, yet neither of them showed signs of slowing. Behind them, the combined warriors of Earth and Jorax marched in silence, still unsure whether this strange alliance was strength or madness. Kelzari, Azazar. Eyes kept sliding toward him. She had seen many warriors, but this human moved differently. There was no arrogance in his steps, no fear, no doubt. Only purpose. When they reached the first twisted transport, Marcus crouched beside it. The metal was torn in half, as if something had ripped through it from the inside. He touched the blackened edge with 2 fingers, then sniffed the air. Plasma burst, he said, but too clean. Someone wanted this destruction to look like an ambush. Kelzari frowned. You're saying this was planned? He nodded. Sabotage, from inside your ranks maybe. She bared her teeth. Impossible. Jorax does not betray Jorax. He raised an eyebrow. Are you sure? Her fist tightened around her spear. She hated the thought, but the silence of the broken convoy screamed too loud to ignore. Her beast sniffed the wind and growled, low and uncertain. Kelzari ordered 2 scouts to search the perimeter. As they disappeared into the canyon shadows, Marcus motioned her closer. There are no scorch marks from orbital fire. The engines were still cooling when they were cut. Someone disabled the convoy while it was parked. Someone who had time. She glanced at the ground and cursed. The claw prints of her own beast riders were there, leading away from the destroyed vehicles. Sabotage, she whispered. And maybe a trap. Marcus added. Before she could respond, a shriek cut through the canyon. The 2 scouts came tumbling. Back, one missing an arm. The other was screaming and pointing behind him, from the shadowed cliffs above. A pack of wild war beasts charged down the rocks. Their bodies were massive, even bigger than the one Marcus had lifted. Their mouths glowed with acidic green light, and their legs tore into stone as if it were sand. Kelzari didn't hesitate. She leapt forward, mounted her beast, and roared. But Marcus grabbed her by the wrist. Wait, these aren't wild. Look at their collars. She froze. Her golden eyes narrowed. Around the necks of the incoming beasts were black metal bands. Control collars. Someone's sending them, she growled. Marcus stepped between her and the charging monsters. He slammed his foot into the rock and took a deep breath. His body tensed, ready. His eyes scanned the biggest beast first. You take the left 3. I'll handle the big one. Kelzari laughed. You'll die trying. He looked back and smirked. We'll see. She raced toward the left flank as Marcus ran forward like a charging wall of muscle. The lead beast snapped its jaw and swung. A claw at him. Marcus slid under its arm, grabbed the exposed joint, and twisted. The creature let out a scream as its leg cracked sideways. Kelzari launched her spear through one beast's eye, then flipped off her mount and landed hard on another, stabbing its back over and over. She moved like a storm, fast and brutal. Marcus locked both arms around the big war beast's throat and began to lift. Muscles bulged under his skin. Blood dripped from his shoulder where the creature had bitten him. Still he roared and lifted it clean off the ground. The creature thrashed wildly, slamming its claws into his sides, but he didn't let go. He turned and hurled it into a rock wall with a thunderous crack. Dust exploded as the cliff shattered. The rest of the beasts hesitated. Their glowing eyes darted between the 2 warriors. Kelzari landed beside Marcus, covered in blood and dirt. Her armor was cracked in places. Her breath was short, but her eyes gleamed. You're insane, she said. He wiped his mouth with the back of his hand. And you're still alive. From the cliffs above, a small figure in a dark cloak watched. A transmitter blinked on his wrist. He turned away and vanished deeper into the shadows. Marcus noticed the movement but didn't chase. He knew this battle was just the beginning. Someone wanted this war to burn from both ends. Kelzari leaned close. You said earlier this might be a trap. I think it just started. He looked at the corpses around them and nodded slowly. Then we spring it, she chuckled. You sound like one of us now, he smiled. Maybe I am. The wind blew again, carrying the scent of metal and blood. Neither warrior spoke, but both of them knew the true war had not yet begun. The canyon walls felt colder now, even under the burning twin suns. Marcus stood quietly over the shattered remains of the beast he had thrown. Its body twitched once more before falling still. Around him, Kalzari's warriors were silent. Not out of fear, but out of something deeper, respect. No one had ever done what this human did. Not on her soil. Not against her beasts. Kalzari wiped blood from her cheek with the back of her hand. "We must move," she said. Marcus glanced toward the cliffs. "The figure I saw up there wasn't Jiraxi." She narrowed her eyes. Spy," he nodded. "Too small for one of your warriors. Could be mercenary or worse. Could be your council." Kalzari's jaw tightened. "The council would not do this. They need victory as much as we do, or they need blame," Marcus said quietly. The path beyond the wreckage twisted between narrow ridges. Kalzari led them through, her beast walking beside her. Marcus followed behind her, every step heavy but alert. His ears never stopped listening. His eyes scanned every corner. They reached an old outpost built into the canyon wall. It had been abandoned for years, but it still held supplies. Kalzari raised her hand to signal halt. Her warriors spread out quickly. No one dared question her. Now inside, the building smelled of rust, dried blood, and sand. Marcus stepped over a broken door. "Looks like someone's already been here," she nodded. "Recently, look there." A supply crate had been pried open. Food packets were missing. Some of the tools were gone. But not stolen in haste. "Taken carefully. Someone's building something," Marcus muttered. Kalzari looked at him. "You think it's sabotage?" "Yes. And I think it's not just against you. I think someone wants both of us to fail." She turned to her second in command. "Seal the entrance. Prepare defenses. No one leaves until I say so." Her warriors nodded and moved swiftly. Meanwhile, Marcus and Kalzari walked deeper into the outpost. In one dark corner, they found a broken screen flickering with static. Marcus tapped it. The screen blinked, then displayed a recording. A hooded figure stood before a map. Red markers blinked across both human and Jiraxi lines. Behind the figure, a voice spoke in a language Marcus didn't understand. Kalzari growled. "That's council dialect, but distorted." He tilted his head. "Then they are involved." She paced back and forth, fists clenched. "If the council has betrayed us, I cannot go back. Not without proof, not without strength." Marcus crossed his arms. "Then we take strength from them. We show them what a Terran and a Jiraxi can do together." Kalzari looked up at him. Her face was fierce, but there was something else in her gaze now. Something warmer. "I'm not used to trusting anyone," she said. He nodded. "Neither am I." That night, the fire crackled inside the outpost while the wind screamed outside. Kalzari sat close to the flame, sharpening her blade. Marcus cleaned his wounds with a cloth soaked in something that smelled like burning. "Herbs," she looked over. "You are not like others. I get that a lot. You fight like a beast, but speak like a commander. You act alone, yet protect all." He looked at her. "What do you want me to be?" She smiled. "Strong, but also real." They sat in silence for a while. Outside, one of the scouts whistled sharply. Trouble had arrived. Marcus grabbed his rifle. Kalzari stood with her spear. They moved as one, pushing through the door into the dark night. Down the ridge, lights flickered. Small drones hovered silently, projecting images into the air. The council's mark glowed above them. A voice echoed from the projection. "Kalzari, you are ordered to surrender. You have violated command directives. You now serve under inquiry." Her eyes burned. "They dare accuse me? After what they sent?" Marcus stepped forward. "They're trying to silence you." Another projection blinked to life. This time, it showed a twisted version of the battle. It showed her beast attacking unprovoked. It showed Marcus striking first. Edited lies. "They're rewriting the truth," he said. Kelzari growled. "Then we speak louder." She raised her arm and fired a bolt of blue flame into the sky. Her warriors rallied instantly. Marcus aimed his rifle at the lead drone and fired. Sparks exploded, and the drone crashed. The Council would not expect this. They thought the Jiraxi were divided. They thought the humans were isolated. They were wrong. Kelzari turned to Marcus. "You stood with me. Now I stand with you." He nodded. "Then let's start writing a new truth." As the sun rose the next morning, smoke from the drone still lingered in the sky. The message was clear. The war was no longer between nations. It was between those who served power and those who stood for truth. And at the center of it all stood a human and a Jiraxi. No longer strangers, but something stronger. The desert was no longer silent. As the news spread across the outposts of both Earth and Jorax, commanders, spies, and traitors scrambled to understand what had just happened. The Council's message had been destroyed. Their drones had failed. And Kelzari still stood free. Inside the outpost, Marcus examined the data core pulled from the wrecked drone. Its surface was scorched, but the internal memory pulsed faintly. He connected a Terran interface and waited as the system read the files. Kelzari stood beside him, arms crossed, gaze fixed on the screen. "Will it show us who gave the order?" "Maybe," Marcus said. "But it'll take time to decrypt. This isn't Terran code. It's Jiraxi mixed with off-world tech." She frowned. "Then someone's helping them. Outsiders." He looked at her. "And enemies to both our species." Outside, her warriors dug trenches and placed makeshift barriers. They no longer looked at Marcus with doubt. Now they moved when he spoke. They listened when he gave advice. Kelzari noticed it too. "You've earned them," she said. Marcus shrugged. "I didn't ask to lead. I just didn't want to die." She chuckled. "Sometimes that's enough to be followed." Suddenly, a pulse from the core caused the screen to flash. Coordinates appeared. A hidden base, deep beneath the stone layers of the Black Ridge. A forgotten mining station sealed after the last Jiraxi civil war. Kelzari leaned in. "That's where the Council hides its failures. And where they store weapons too dangerous to be seen." Marcus stared at the map. "Then that's where we go." By nightfall, their plan was set. A small strike team, half human and half Jiraxi, would move fast through the canyon maze. Their goal was not just to survive, but to reveal the truth hidden beneath the rock. Kelzari prepared her war beast, brushing its thick-scaled hide with a steady hand. It rumbled low, sensing tension. She whispered to it in her native tongue, promises of blood and glory. Marcus watched from the ridge above. He was ready. His body still ached, his wounds barely healed, but his resolve had only grown stronger. At midnight they moved. The canyon narrowed as they climbed higher. No lights, no sounds. Only the thud of boots and clawed feet against rock. Marcus led from the front, his rifle raised. Kelzari moved just behind him, spear in hand and senses sharp. Suddenly, Marcus held up a fist. The group stopped. He crouched and touched a pressure plate buried under dust. "Trap," he said. Kelzari scanned the walls. "Council tech, infrapulse mines. Meant to vaporize organics, not metal." Marcus stood and stepped back. "I can disarm it, but only once," she nodded. "Then choose wisely." He took a breath, then pressed 2 fingers to the plate. A spark, a hiss, then silence. The device powered down. He stepped over and motioned for the others to follow. They moved deeper, eventually reaching a rusted steel door sealed by time and silence. Kelzari placed her hand against a scanner. It blinked red, then green. The door groaned open. Inside was darkness. But not silence. Machines hummed deep within. The ground. Lights blinked from consoles still alive. And in the center of the room stood a massive cage made of black crystal and steel. Inside was a beast, neither human nor Jiraxi. Its eyes opened as they entered, glowing white. Its limbs were too long. Its body made of shifting plates and coiled flesh. It stared at them without blinking. Marcus stepped forward. "What is that?" Kelzari's voice was low. "An ancient thing, created by war, abandoned by peace. The council must be mad to awaken it." A voice echoed from above. Speakers crackled. "You should have stayed dead, Kelzari." She looked up. Counselor Raz Tor. "I should have known," the voice laughed. "You were always strong, but never smart. Now you bring humans into our graveyards." Marcus aimed his weapon at the speakers. "You buried this for a reason. Let it sleep." The cage glowed. Energy pulsed. And the creature inside began to rise. The walls shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. Alarms screamed. Kelzari shouted, "Back, now!" But it was too late. The crystal cracked. The steel groaned. And the beast burst free with a scream that rattled their bones. Kelzari hurled her spear. Marcus fired round after round. The others retreated to the upper levels. The creature moved like smoke and fire, claws slicing through air and metal. Marcus dove under a swing and rolled beside Kelzari. "Any weak points?" "None that we know. That's why they sealed it away." He looked up at the beast, now perched on a console. Its eyes locked onto his. Something inside it recognized him, and it roared. Kelzari grabbed him by the arm. "If we die here, they win." He clenched his jaw. "Then we fight smart." Together, they moved again. Side by side. Not just as allies, but as something stronger. The war outside had grown quiet, but the true battle had just awakened beneath the stone. The air was filled with the sound of sirens and metal grinding against metal. The ancient beast had shattered its cage. The lab's energy flickered as the lights above burst one by one. Sparks rained down from broken wires. Kelzari gripped her second spear and planted her feet firmly. Marcus adjusted the setting on his rifle. He had switched to armor-piercing rounds. They both knew standard weapons wouldn't be enough. This thing was not just muscle and rage. It was designed, built, and modified to kill anything that moved. The creature charged first. Its long limbs stretched unnaturally across the room, claws slashing through broken terminals. It aimed for Kelzari. Marcus threw himself into its path. The blow struck him hard across the chest, sending him flying into a pillar. Stone cracked from the impact. But he got up. Kelzari took the chance to leap onto its back. She stabbed her spear deep into a joint near its neck. The creature screeched. A pulse of white-hot energy surged through the weapon and launched her off its back. She landed hard but rolled back onto her feet. "It's learning," she growled. Marcus ran back to her side. "Then we don't give it time." Together they circled it, her on the left, him on the right. The beast spun in place, watching them with both eyes glowing like stars. Its skin shimmered, shifting colors and texture like liquid armor. Every wound they inflicted sealed up in seconds. Kelzari narrowed her eyes. "We need to disable its core, somewhere in the chest or spine." "Look for exposed lines," Marcus nodded. As the creature lunged again, he ducked low and rolled beneath its legs. His fingers grazed across something on its underbelly. A seam. Heat poured from it, he shouted. "Under the chest." "I found it." Kelzari grabbed her remaining grenade and tossed it to him. "Then plant it." "I'll distract it." She shouted at the creature and sprinted straight toward it, throwing her spear again. The weapon struck its eye, and the beast roared in fury. It slammed the ground where she stood, missing by inches. She dodged and dove behind a steel beam. Marcus dove underneath the creature as it thrashed. He held the grenade tight, pressed it against the seam, and triggered the magnetic lock. The device latched on and began to blink. He rolled clear just as the explosion went off. The beast shrieked. Flames burst from its chest. Its armor shattered in that spot, and dark liquid poured from the wound. It stumbled, legs buckling for the first time. But it wasn't dead. Kalzari rushed in with a broken spear shaft and drove it into the opening. The beast howled and tried to grab her, but Marcus was already climbing its back. He wrapped his arms around its thick neck and began to squeeze. "Now!" she shouted. Marcus roared and twisted. The beast fought, thrashing, kicking, but its movements slowed. Its glow dimmed. With a final snap, its spine gave way. The beast collapsed to the ground motionless. Kalzari fell to one knee, breathing heavily. Marcus dropped beside her, soaked in sweat and blood. She looked at him. "You never stop," he grinned. "Neither do you." From the upper walkway, footsteps echoed. Counselor Raztor stepped into the light. His robes were burnt, and half his face was covered in soot. But he still carried authority in his voice. "You've ruined everything. That creature was our last weapon." Kalzari stood. "Your weapon nearly killed us all. You think you're heroes," he sneered. "But you've doomed both our races. That beast was meant for the enemies beyond the stars. Now we are defenseless." Marcus stepped forward. "We don't need monsters to defend us. We need each other." Raztor laughed. "The alliance won't last. Jiraxi pride is too deep, Terran hunger too wide. You will turn on each other." Kalzari pointed her spear at him. "Maybe, but today we fight as one." He spat on the floor. "Then finish it. End me if you dare." Marcus raised his rifle but stopped. He looked at Kalzari. She stepped closer to Raztor and stared into his eyes. "No," she said. "You will live. You will return to the council and tell them what you saw. You will tell them that Earth and Jorak stood together, and that we were stronger for it." Raztor's mouth tightened. He said nothing as he turned and limped into the shadows. Marcus lowered his rifle. "You let him live." Kalzari nodded. "Some truths are louder when spoken by those who fear them." They stood in silence above the fallen beast. Their hands were dirty, their armor cracked, but their backs were straight. Outside, the first rays of light filtered through the shattered roof. The sun touched Marcus's shoulder and her face. It felt warm again. Together, they climbed out of the ruins, and behind them, the war they had fought began to reshape the world around them. The news spread faster than fire through dry wind. Across both human and Jiraxi fronts, rumors echoed of a beast defeated and a council exposed. Soldiers looked up from their weapons. Officers lowered their voices. Something had shifted, something they didn't expect. Kalzari rode her beast across the southern ridge while Marcus walked beside her. The sun hung low, casting long shadows over the rock. Behind them, warriors of both species followed silently. No longer just allies by orders, but bound by something tested in fire. "They will try to silence us," Kalzari said. Marcus nodded. "Then we make sure everyone hears us before they do." At the edge of a broken communication tower, Marcus placed a beacon on the highest antenna. He tapped the interface and set the channel to public wideband. Kalzari adjusted her armor and stepped forward. Her voice rang clear across the waves. "This is Kalzari of the Beast Clans. To all Jiraxi warriors and Terran soldiers, hear me. We were betrayed by those who claimed to protect us. We were used, but no more." She looked at Marcus and stepped aside. He took her place and spoke firmly. "This is Marcus Vorn of Earth's 9th Battalion. I stood with Kalzari. I saw what the Council tried to hide. But we defeated their monster, together, not with machines. Not with lies, but with trust and blood." The beacon flashed green. The message was sent and repeated. Across colonies, ships, trenches, and ruins, voices fell silent to listen. Kalzari looked up at the sky. "We don't know what comes next." Marcus crossed his arms. "But we know who we are now." Later, at their makeshift camp near the stone ridge, Kelzari sat beside the fire while Marcus cleaned his gear. The others slept in small clusters, weapons near their hands, but eyes finally closed in peace. She looked across the fire. "What will your people say about you?" Marcus shrugged. "That I went native, that I lost discipline, that I broke ranks," she smirked. "And what will they say about me?" He grinned. "That you forgot your chains and found your voice." The wind picked up, sending sparks upward. Kelzari threw a fresh log on the fire. "When this is over, what will you do?" Marcus paused. "I haven't thought about after. Only surviving now." She leaned forward. "I've always lived for war. It's all I knew. But today, when I stood beside you, something felt different." He nodded. "Same here." A scout approached from the darkness. "Commander, a ship is approaching. Fast, not council. Terran." ID codes. Marcus stood quickly. That could be reinforcements. Or worse. Kelzari rose and grabbed her spear. "Let's meet them together." They climbed the rise just as the ship descended. Its hull was black and smooth, marked with Earth's flag and tactical unit codes. The landing bay opened with a hiss. From within, figures in gray armor stepped out. Their faces were unreadable behind dark visors. Marcus stepped forward. "Identify yourself." The lead soldier lowered his helmet. "Colonel Reese, Special Recovery Division." "We're here for you, Vorn." "Orders from High Command." Kelzari narrowed her eyes. "He is not going anywhere." The colonel turned his eyes toward her. "I'm not here to argue. Earth has questions. He has answers." Marcus looked at Kelzari. She didn't move. Her spear tip touched the ground, but her stance was ready. He sighed. "I'll go, but only if she comes too." Reese blinked. "She's not Terran. She's part of the truth," Marcus said. "You want my story, you take hers." Reese hesitated, then nodded. "Fine, but if she steps out of line, it's on you." Kelzari smirked. "I step in line for no one. But I walk with him." Together, they entered the ship. The doors sealed behind them. Engines roared. The others watched as the black ship rose into the sky and disappeared into the stars. Hours passed before Marcus spoke again. "If they try anything, we fight." Kelzari placed her hand over his. "Let them try." Inside that ship flew not just two warriors, but two symbols of something that neither Earth nor Jorax had dared believe possible. Unity forged not in politics, but in survival. As they neared orbit, the screens flickered. Messages from both governments blinked. Some praised, some threatened, some begged. None of them mattered now. Kelzari looked at the stars. "Do you think they'll listen?" Marcus tightened the strap on his shoulder. "They don't have a choice anymore." And above the burning world below, a Terran and a Jiraxi flew into uncertain skies, not as enemies, not as strangers, but as the beginning of something new. The ship pierced through Earth's upper atmosphere like a silent spear. Clouds parted as the sleek Terran vessel descended toward the capital landing zone. Inside, Marcus and Kelzari stood side by side, their weapons holstered, their expressions unreadable. Earth's military base stretched wide below them, a web of steel and concrete lit with harsh white lights. As the landing gears touched down, a convoy of armored vehicles rolled toward them. At the front stood a woman in a dark uniform, her chest marked with 4 golden bars. Marcus stepped out first, flanked by Kelzari. The soldiers surrounding them held rifles but did not raise them. The tension in the air could be sliced with a blade. "Lieutenant General Arlen," Marcus said. She nodded once. "Vorn, you look like hell," he smirked. "You should see the other guy." Her eyes flicked. To Kelzari. "And this is the Jiraxi?" Kelzari stood tall. "I am not the Jiraxi. I am Kelzari, daughter of Flame, commander of the Beast Clans, and the one who watched your enemies burn beside your soldier." Arlen nodded again. "Then welcome to Earth." They were led into the main hall of Earth Command, a towering chamber of glass and iron. Screens played looping reports of the Council's betrayal, images of the war beast, and recordings of the transmission Marcus and Zari had sent. Every officer they passed stopped to watch them. Inside the central chamber, a round table was already filled with generals, advisors, and government officials. They all turned as the doors opened. Arlen motioned them forward. One of the officials leaned in. "We expected you would come alone, Vorn." Marcus sat down. "Then you don't understand what happened." Another general folded his arms. "Explain it to us." Zari's voice rang through the hall. "You think this is about war. It is not. It is about power. And what those in power tried to hide." Marcus activated the data core from the drone. It projected images in the air, the secret facility, the engineered monster, the Council's orders, the altered battle footage. One by one, the room went silent. A senator leaned back. "This could spark galactic conflict." Zari stepped forward. "Or it could prevent. 1. If we stand together now, no other empire will dare rise against us." An older woman at the table spoke at last. Her voice was calm but firm. "We offer Zari temporary diplomatic status. No more hidden threats. We want truth. And you've brought it." Marcus glanced at Zari. She didn't smile, but her eyes softened slightly. "What of the Council?" one officer asked. Zari's jaw tightened. "They will not be allowed to rule again. My people are already rising." The beast clans no longer take orders from cowards. The room filled with murmurs. Some nodded, some whispered concerns. But none denied what they had seen. The truth was now too large to ignore. That night, Marcus stood on the rooftop of the embassy, watching Earth City lights glow in the distance. Zari joined him, her armor replaced with a simple cloak. Her eyes scanned the stars above. "This world is loud," she said. He chuckled. "You get used to it." She leaned on the railing beside him. "You could have stayed behind. Let them handle it." "I didn't want to," he said. "Why?" "Because when I lifted your beast that day, I didn't just prove strength. I found something else. A reason to fight for more than orders." She nodded slowly. "And I found something I never expected. Respect for a human, and maybe more." The wind brushed past them. Not cold, not warm. Just real. In the days that followed, a new alliance formed. Not forced by treaties or weapons, but by shared blood and survival. Terran forces began training beside Jiraxi warriors. Trade lines opened. Walls fell, but not all were pleased. In the outer systems, whispers stirred. Old powers began to move. And in the shadows of distant galaxies, eyes watched the new alliance grow. One night, as they walked through the market district of New Terran City, Zari stopped beside a merchant selling strange fruits. She turned to Marcus. "Do humans still measure strength by lifting things?" He raised an eyebrow. "Sometimes." She picked up a heavy crate with one hand and smirked. "Then I suppose I should remind them what strength really looks like." Marcus laughed. "You're learning too quickly, and you're still not fast enough," she said as she walked ahead. He caught up, walking beside her like he always had. Not in front, not behind, but together. The crowd parted as they passed. Not in fear, but in respect. The war was over, but the story was just beginning.